Like many people, I'm not really into theme sewing or theme dressing. Once in a while, I'll sew something up for a special occasion or a holiday. However, where I live, it's almost obligatory that you dress Western in the first part of July because of Calgary Stampede. This year, Love Notions Patterns came out with a Western shirt late in the spring, and it was perfect timing to sew up not one, but two Western shirts. Welcome or welcome back, sewing friends. I'm Janine. This is Janine Sews. I talk about sewing for the over 50 woman. And because it's Stampede Week, I'm also going to say howdy. I don't say that very often. This year, I became a volunteer for the Calgary Stampede, and that means that I'm on the Stampede grounds several days out of the 11 days of Stampede. There is an expectation that those who are volunteers wear some sort of gear that's at least slightly Western. Could be a cowboy hat, boots with your jeans. I personally like to wear different types of Western tops, and I do wear a cowboy hat most of the time. In the past few years since I've been home in Calgary, I've sewn two tops that I made to wear to Stampede events. Neither is a Western top. They're both tops made with kind of Western themed quilting cotton. They're fine, but it can be pretty warm, and quilting cotton isn't necessarily great when it's quite warm and you're outside. Also, I did want something a little bit more traditionally Western this year. And I'd been looking for patterns. I had a couple in my stash, but I really wanted something that was going to give me a little bit more shape. So I had my eye on one particular pattern that has princess seams. And then Love Notions came out with the Bluegrass Shirt and Dress, which is a traditional Western shirt that can also be made dress length. And by traditional Western shirt, I mean that it has a standard collar with a collar stand, buttoned front with plackets, has the choice of sleeves or not. If you make the sleeves, there are cuffs with plackets. You can add a yoke or not. If you add the yoke, there are two options, one that's kind of basic and the other one that's a little bit curvier. And then there are breast pockets. And it's also suggested that you use snaps. So I picked up this pattern and I've made two versions of it, as I said. I'm wearing the first one. This is my wearable toile. I'm going to pop up some pictures of it. And for this particular version, I wanted to make it wearable. So I looked for colors that would work for me, and I wanted something that would be great for a hot day. And this is a crinkle cotton that I bought at Fabricland here in Calgary. It's a little bit more translucent than I would like. A little less opaque. So I have to be careful what undergarments I wear under it. It will be fine for a very hot day at the Stampede, which is actually going to be today. And I am going to go down later today with a bunch of girlfriends, and I'm going to wear this with my cowboy hat. Like many Love Notions patterns, there's a full bust option, and I did use that. And I had to do some shaping with this particular version of it, my first version of it. I had to scoop out some of the top of the princess seam because things move south, things are less inflated at the top of my bust. And then I also had to take off some on the sides. Because of the way the pattern pieces are shaped, they're wider around the bust and then they come down. And I found that I just had too much volume here at the side. Now, when I show you the second version that I've made, you'll notice I still have a little bit too much volume. This version actually turned out really well. I was quite happy with it. The nice thing about having the princess seams is that you can shape things the way that you need to. Add, subtract where you need to. Make the waist shorter, front or back, or longer. Add more space for the belly or the hips. This sleeveless version, you are instructed to just fold over the edges of the arm side and stitch them, but I found that I wasn't going to have enough coverage here at the side. So instead, I made up self-bias and I sewed it on so that you could actually see the band. And I just did some very gentle easing with my machine so that there is no gaping on the front or the back, or minimized gaping. I don't have to worry about my bra showing. For this version, I just use standard buttons. They're clear buttons. This year I'm really liking clear buttons because it doesn't detract from the design if you don't want the buttons to show. Now, the only thing about this version, and I don't know if you can see this, is I didn't get the buttons aligned properly here. So I will be wearing a pin there. This is a wearable toile. These things happen. This is version 1 of the Bluegrass. Now I am going to show you version 2. And here's shirt number 2. This is decidedly more Western, isn't it? This version has long sleeves. So it's got the cuffs and the plackets. And the fabric is a cotton lawn from Fabric Godmother in the UK. I fell in love with it when I saw it because of the pink and the cute designs on it, the horses and the cowboy boots and the horseshoes and the cactus. It just seemed really different and cute and unique. I hadn't seen fabric like this in any stores in Calgary. And I haven't seen fabric like this on any me-mates around here. Cut this out exactly the same way as the other one, with the addition of the sleeves and the changes that were made for this one, sleeves and cuffs. I added fringe to the front and the back yoke, and I used pearl snaps instead of buttons. Adding the fringe was super easy because of the way that the yoke is installed. The yoke is actually 2 pieces of fabric cut yoke-shaped, stitched together, flipped wrong sides together, pressed, and then just stitched onto the front and back bodice that have already been joined at the shoulders. Not sure I love that method. It works. I might do it a little bit differently. And I think personally, I would also like the front yoke to come down a little bit lower. That's fine. The snaps were an adventure to install. I bought, fortunately, several packages of unique pearl snaps, and I installed them very well using a video from Unique that showed how to align them. I'm going to link that video down below because it was quite good. And then I went and I put on the shirt, and none of the snaps worked because I used the wrong tool and I had flattened all the snaps. Fortunately, when I flattened them, the prongs had not affixed properly to the fabric, so I was able to easily remove the snaps without damaging the fabric. There were some prong holes, but I think they all pressed out. So I went out and I bought the right tool and I installed all of the snaps again. Now I know how to do it, and I think that snaps are fun, and I would definitely add them again. With the right tool, they're super easy to install. So there are the snaps down the front. I used a button on the top for the top button that's on the collar stand. Just thought I'd like that better. And I saw that on my actual cowboy shirts. And then there are also snaps on the sleeves. Nice placket on the sleeves. On this one, I added a couple of labels. One is PG, and the other one is a Canadian flag. PG as in, I'm not going to tell you what it said. You can figure it out if you saw it. And then I have a really nice label on the inside yoke that a friend gave me for a Stampede shirt because she knew I was going to make one. I wore this shirt to the Calgary Stampede day 1. I was on the grounds volunteering for 11 hours. It was inside, fortunately, where it was air conditioned. It was super comfortable. I felt very appropriately dressed. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. The only thing was, I had some pictures taken while I was down there. The light is terrible, but I looked at them, and I pop them up here, and I thought that the shirt needed a little bit of work for the fitting. Don't know why. I guess I must not have transferred all the changes to the pattern over from the yellow version. It just felt like there was too much volume. I didn't like the way it looked. So this morning, I made some changes. I took off some volume here, just on the side seam, and I took off some volume, the bottom of the princess seams here, because it was sticking out a little bit too much. And we'll see how I like it. I'm going to take some more pictures. If I don't like it in the pictures, I'll fix it a little bit more later. Would I use this pattern again? Absolutely. It doesn't need to be a Western shirt because you don't have to have the yoke. You don't have to have the breast pockets if you don't want them. And you don't have to use snaps. So it would just be a nice shaped princess seamed shirt. Now, you can actually even stand up the collar if you want. If you want a little bit more of that 1980s look. This is the Love Notions Bluegrass Shirt. Do you like this style of shirt? Would you make a Western shirt ever? Or would you use a pattern like this just for a regular shirt? And what do you think about snaps? These kind of snaps, the little ones, not the big ones. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope to see you again soon. Take care.